Bounty Hunters. Life on the blockchain.
Life on the blockchain. What's up? We are back with another episode of Bounty Hunters. I am your humble host, Riptide. We have an interesting guest on today, a little different, but the audience demanded it. Before we kick off, give a shout out to our sponsor, Recon. Get recon.xyz/Riptide. Get yourself some invariant testing going on. Do it. You get $5,000 off first time customers for them to do invariant testing engagement with you. So fuzz straight from your GitHub. These guys work with all the big projects. Alex is an LSR, knows his shit. They have a free Solidity extension, VS Code extension, to basically play with their features right from your computer. So it's pretty awesome what he's doing. Give it a shout. Go check it out. Get recon.xyz/Riptide. Also sponsored by rareskills.io/Riptide. Get yourself 10% off on some learning. Learn some Solidity, ZK, Rust, Uniswap, and they're launching a course on Circom as well. So go get a boot camp, go see what's up, and it'll help out the podcast. Okay, so our guest today, I guarantee you've never heard of him, but my man Vic is in the house here, also known as 0xe4669da. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Really nice intro there. Welcome, like
All
life
right,
on the blockchain and all.
that's right.
I really like it, man.
Well, thank you, sir. So, uh, Mr. Vic here, this is our noob podcast. So there was a lot of demand, an overwhelming demand on the poll to have someone who's new to the space, new to the bounty hunting space, and is trying to get that big win. And so I heard Vic's backstory and wanted to have him on. So give us a little background here. What's going on? How'd you get started, and kind of where are you at now? And what have you done so far?
Okay, so basically, my story is really like, what should I say? I was a finance guy, approx 8 or 9 years back. I did professional accountancy. I don't know if you have heard about ACC or something. I was a professional accountant. I spent almost 6 to 7 years in core corporate finance sector in traditional finance. I was basically a financial analyst serving different companies. Then I got sick of that 9 to 5 grind and just going daily to the office at 9 o'clock like robots and all. So I just switched to IT in 2018, just 6 months or 7 months or maybe 1 year before the coronavirus hit the world. Then I started full stack web development, did spend some time on Upwork, did full stack blockchain development there as a freelancer, did some PHP projects. I'm actually a self-taught full time because I was not a computer science student at all. So but I had always interest in programming because when I was in finance, I used to do coding to like build financial models, the Excel automation using VBA and all. So when I heard about blockchain, I said, okay, this is something that actually attracts me more because I was a finance guy and there's something like DeFi when I heard about it. So I did a certification from an Indian institute online, a full stack blockchain development course. Like I learned the technology. My teacher was really great.
Let me pause you just real quick because I'm curious. So can you disclose where you're from? What country?
I'm actually from Pakistan.
Pakistan. Okay. Why? I gotta ask. Why did you feel like you had to complete like a certification? It is because all the resources, and I just want to know, if it's good or bad, it's up to you. But there's all these resources. Is that a cultural thing where it's like, look, I have the certification, this and that. Did you just feel like this to you made you competent in the field, or like why pursue certification through a course rather than just kind of learning as much as you can?
Yeah, back in 2022, at that time, there were two things. First, that you say that I got the certification, I'm competent enough just to show the employers. But
So
second
you
most
wanted a job.
important.
You were trying to get a job with an employer.
Yeah, exactly,
Okay.
101%. Yeah, at that time I was 101%, because at that time I was also working in a software, in a local software house as a MERN stack developer, full stack developer, right? So I needed a more guided way. At that time there was no sifter and updraft in 2022, right? So I needed a guided pathway so that I can actually complete this whole journey as quick as possible, and like become a value adding resource for some company. That's why I opted for the certification.
Okay. Now makes sense. Okay.
All right. So just right after completing the certification, I just saw some posts by Johnny Times on LinkedIn and Twitter. So I talked to him and I told him that I want to join his course. That smart contract hacking course or something. So I don't know why at that time, because there was so much like hype on Twitter, at least to the connections that I followed. I was having all those like feeds. So I also went for certification there, and I think it helped me to again I wanted a more guided path to just go and hit straight to the target. That's it.
Hmm.
Although I was a self-taught, I have learned every technology by myself. Okay, so even in the certification, they covered the whole syllabi. They gave me the overall understanding of how the ecosystem works, how the technology works, which protocols are built, what are the use cases of DeFi and all. Just flavors. Apart from that, to learn anything in depth, for example, Uniswap V3, how the Uniswap work, how what is an AMM, how lending borrowing protocol works. A lot of things were actually familiar for me because my background was from finance, but I still went for the certification. I completed that certification. I started participating. I officially, like 100%, I started participating in public audit contests. My first contest was, I think, Spectra on Code Arena back
Hmm.
then in March, March 2020, March to 2024. Yes, first month was
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Since then I competed in many contests. I did a lot of mistakes there. I think this is the point which a lot of beginners, because I regularly listen to your podcast. All right, so there are a lot of beginners who actually listen to this podcast. The mistakes that I did, I think these are the most common and most easy to make mistakes that any beginner who is really
Are you
aggressive.
wait? Are you saying big nerd?
Sorry?
Did you say big nerd?
No, no,
What,
no.
what,
I didn't say nerd.
what did you say?
Big mistake, I said.
No, no, no. Before that, you said there's a lot of big nerds who listen to this podcast. Or
I
did I?
said beginners, beginners.
Big nerds.
Sorry.
You're absolutely
I
right.
said there are a lot of beginners, not big nerds.
Okay, okay. Wait, big nerds? How do you spell this? I'm confused.
Beginners, beginners,
Oh, beginners. Oh, okay,
newbies.
sorry.
Yeah, beginners,
I thought you were
newbies
like,
like
it's a
me.
lot of big nerds. I like big nerds, man. All right, all right, all
Beginners,
right,
man.
all right. Sorry, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead. All right. So you think you made some major mistakes?
yeah, definitely. But then I learned,
Like what? Like what kind of mistakes have you made?
like, yeah. So the biggest mistake is this: sleeping on the docs, on the documentation, trying to read each and every piece of information that is actually listed on the contest page, trying to
Mm,
just go through it, take notes, do highlighting, and do useless stuff there. I did that initially.
okay,
Even though
okay,
I had 11 today on my portfolio, I have I compared in autonomous color, dollar, and a lot of actually audits, but I have 11 confirmed bugs, including four high severity bugs, right?
okay,
So, but eventually, what is my ordering strategy right now? I'll also share this with you, and and using that strategy, uh, I can feel some improvement there, right? So basically, I started public audit contest in 2023, in 2024 March, as I was saying. Then I started participating in contests back to back, trying to read the past reports using solidity, right? And initially I was not getting succeeded at all. Okay, so my first report got the comments from the judge. He said report talks the like nonsense. I said okay, this is my first report, no problem. Then I just participated in another contest and another one. Finally, on my first running was $700 on Codehawks Zeros part 1 competition. It did motivate me a bit. Then I said okay, I must go on. One important point I must uh, tell you here is that the moment, the month, from the very month that I started participating into public audit contests, I quit my job. Okay, I had some savings, and like I thought, okay, if I have 1 years of expense, if I have enough funds for my 1 year expense, I can actually perform something there.
Okay.
I actually wanted to go for bug hunting. Actually, I think bug hunting is something that is of my type. I actually wanted to go for bug hunting, but eventually, just for like immediate cash inflow, you can say, I went for
hmm
audit contests, right?
All right. Let me ask some here. So you had I just pulled up the link you sent me on. It shows around $774 total earnings, something around there for your audit competition bugs, right? Your contests.
Yeah, it's exactly like I mean, I think it's electric near to 1200 overall.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
Because but that audit portfolio is not including one low finding.
Uh
It
huh.
is actually yes,
All right.
because
All right.
Sherlock only shows high and mediums.
All right.
On
All right.
Codox for one low, I got $400.
All right, got it. All right, and in Pakistan, what's like the monthly living expense?
You can do really good in I think $700.
$700 a month for
Yes, yes.
everything, for
You
rent,
can
for food, for everything. Okay.
everything.
All right.
Great.
That's pretty good. Okay. So you have a year of runway saved up and you hit some of these competitions, you're like, "Hey, look, I can do it." You got that dopamine hit. You said, "Look, I got paid for reading some code and just pointing
Mhm.
out some flaws." So you're like, "Yo, I could do this. I'm quitting. Fuck you, employer. I'm out." And now you're saying I'm going to do bounties instead of contests. Am I right?
Exactly. My eventual target is bug hunting because it's of my type. I do enjoy it more, but there is a story behind it. Okay. So when my savings, I thought my savings could last up to like 1 year. Okay, but it happened to be I just make a proper financial plan because I'm married. I discussed
Mm-hmm.
this with my wife and asked her to we'll just cut out some extra things in our budget and all. Because I was making like good money because in 2024 February or January when I left my job, I was acting as a lead blockchain dev, right? So I was like making good money, but my wife said, "Okay, go ahead, you can do it." Yeah. So what did I do is I just quit, and that saving actually lasted for 1.5 years. All right, I was
Okay.
still struggling with contest. I was struggling. Another mistake that I made is that I wanted, what I do is I said, okay, let's go for 100% course coverage first to understand the protocol, each and every line of code, each and every logic of the
Mm-hmm.
protocol. Okay, so what I did, apart from code only, I started to dive deep into deployment scripts to see which values are actually initialized for every smart contract. I started to pay more attention on the initial configurations, all right, initializations, the existing test setup and all. What and I don't know why it took me too late, okay, to understand what I'm actually doing wrong. But I was actually doing it back to back, the same mistake. I was going this way, and what was the result is that more than 80% of the time was spent in just understanding the setup, the code, the logics, and the deployment. So I only get hardly 20% to 25% of the time to break that code.
And
Only
and
this is the result.
how much time are we talking about that you spent on You're talking about a bounty project that you looked at, right?
Yeah, exact. For example, there is an audit contest of 15 days. Okay, it start
Hmm.
on first
Okay.
and
Okay.
ends on 15th. So approx like 11 to 12 days I used to spend on understanding the docs, each and every word, going deep into the code, not from the perspective of breaking the logic. I do not think of any attack vector or some attack knob or something. No, I just understand the protocol from top to bottom, and then all the test cases so that I can apply mutation test. But I was not even able to do that. Only like when I adopted this methodology, I was able to just spot 11 these bugs. But now I have actually changed my overall audit methodology. One more thing I want to tell you here is that if you remember, I asked you that, sir, I'm going for bug hunting. All right, full
Hmm.
time bug hunting. I started with LayerZero and Target Finance.
Right.
I don't know
Very
if you
very
remember
easy
that.
targets.
Those were not easy targets, but I was pretty much confident that I can actually find something in it. All right. So still I know one problem there. Still I know, I'll just tell that in, if you, I don't know if you think that I can give some alpha here,
Go
as
ahead.
according to
The
my
noob
experience. But I
alpha
have
drop.
something.
I want to hear the noob alpha drop on two heavily audited protocols with massive bounties. All right, should be good, man. I want to hear some juicy alpha.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I went for bug hunting, and just when my savings completely exhausted, I had just 2.5 months, maybe 2 months. Then I thought, then I sit in my office. Basically, my office is separate from my home. It's a complete professionally set up office. I just sat here and just thought, okay, what should I do? Like, I'm getting exhausted. I have one very easy option is to go back to job to a local software house. Maybe next week, if I just tell them I'm available, they will just hire me on the spot. But I don't want to do that. Okay, so as I told you, my eventual target is to be a bug hunter, like you, obviously. So I won't opt this option. Second option is to go back to audit contest, right? So I approx 10 or 15 days back I decided, okay, I need to go back to audit contests. Okay, so I almost work 10 hours per day, 10 to 9 hours per day. So I said, okay, initial 5 days of my first half, I'll do audit contests. And in the second half, I'll do some research work, and also I'll just like groom my resume and start aggressive job hunting remotely. Okay. So internationally, like US, UK, China, UAE, whatever country, India, maybe. So I just, today I had an interview. Oh, at I had interview at a 1 a.m. Okay, that was a 1 hour interview. So I thought of this possible option: contest in the first half and job hunting and some research work to groom myself, professional development second half.
All right,
And
hold on. So hold on. So just to keep us on track, so you're kind of facing some financial pressures here, and so
exactly.
now you're not able to devote full time to it, and so you're looking at anything to get some cash, and you're looking back into the dark side, working for a company to earn a salary, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me just ask a couple questions here.
Mhm.
When you were doing this, you said you were a lead blockchain dev. So you were developing, like, what were you doing? Was this for any protocols that we know? Is just are you doing contract work on Solidity contracts?
So basically, I was working in a local software house, and there was a large sales team, and they used to hunt the jobs on different freelance platforms, right? So basically, one project that I think I can discuss here with you is that we actually built a complete blockchain ecosystem. I don't know if I can take the name because that project is still live. We actually built a complete blockchain ecosystem. Okay, so I personally spin up a sorry, not local, a custom blockchain on AWS EC2 instance, and also configured some boot nodes. I used
Okay, all
Get.
right, but were you coding Solidity? Were you deploying contracts?
Yeah, exactly. I deployed for that. I wrote the smart contract for Web3 domains for that project.
Okay,
Right? It
so
was a
I'm
complete.
I'm just trying to think about like the
Mhm.
what the gap is here. So if like you have knowledge of Solidity, right? You know the
Exactly.
language.
Yep.
Okay, you can write a contract.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, there's different ways to kind of look at this. Like you can know Solidity, but do you know all the gotchas, all the pitfalls, and then how do you think about when you're looking at a contract? Another thing you highlighted was like you're doing an audit competition 2 weeks, and you spent, did you say about 12 days just going over the structure and the docs? Is that right?
Mhm. Yep. This is the actual problem with me. I had that developer mindset in
Mm-hmm.
my brain.
Which is what? What do you think that is?
Yeah,
The developer
basically
mindset.
the mindset of the developer. Like when I was a developer, for example, I am building some functionality into a smart contract. I did a functionality, I write the test. I did a functionality, I write the test. I did the
Mm-hmm.
functionality and write a test. Okay. So I did this, like this practice for maybe 2 to 3 years. I was doing maybe 2 and a half years. I was like doing the same. All right. So when I jumped to like auditing, I think somewhere in my mind, unconsciously or something, I don't know why I always attracted more toward the test suits. What the developer was thinking, how did he design the test suits and all, and this is
Mm-hmm.
why my success rate was really great. Like, for example, if I submit, uh, as I told you, I got really little time in the end, but whenever I submit maybe three bugs, two of them were verified. Okay. So a lot of time, majority of the times I was not able to submit any. Okay. But when I submitted, majority of them were actually verified.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So a few things. Yeah. Obviously you're spending way too much time looking at, if it takes you 90% of the time allotted for a competition and you're still understanding and I don't know, you said you're doing 10 hours a day.
Yep, 6 hours a day, purely staring at the code, focus sessions for 6 hours, just
Uh-huh.
5 minutes walk in between. Okay, and then another 3 to 4 hours just reading past incidents, past reports, scrolling
All right,
Twitter,
all right. I
listening
think
to
I think
podcasts.
that's one of the big problems. I think you noted that too. It's just and everyone's got a different method, right? I'll just contrast that to like how would I approach that is the first thing I would do is open up the code base and not look at the docs, and just from kind of muscle memory to see if I identify any commonalities, or do I even know what the protocol does just by looking at the code. That's how I would
Mhm.
dive in. The docs are going to be verbose, and sometimes they're helpful. Sometimes I don't even bother, and everyone's got a different method, right? I think they're
Mhm.
good to refer to, but I can't say I've spent too much time reading the docs on a project. I think obviously the code is more important.
Yeah.
Sometimes I remove the comments. I know other guys do that as well. Just so you're looking at the flow and the logic and the code. But you don't really have to know the purpose or the functionality of a project to comb the high level bugs, right? So that should be, I think, number one. I mean, you should do maybe some static analysis, run Slither, just go over the code at a high level. Go poke into all the contracts and just say, what does this do? Is there any high level stuff that's obvious? Like, is there are they not checking for duplicates on an array, or is there modifiers missing? Just really high level stuff, and just say, hey, is there any easy bugs out there? And then
Mhm.
if there's not, say, okay, well, let's go a little deeper. And obviously, that's when it gets more fun, and you need to understand the project a bit more. But I would then go, well, I'll pick one contract that looks interesting. Maybe like if I've been, because I think you have to have that interest in whatever you're looking at.
Yeah.
Maybe there's one called staking.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, staking. All right, how does their staking system work? And just start going through it and just stick on maybe that contract. Does that interact with a library or something like that, and just kind of, I pick a flow to start with and then try to trace that down to the end where I try to look at every method to exploit that functionality. So instead of saying if it's a complex protocol that does staking, that does vesting, that's a DEX, it's an AM, all these things, just say, hey, it has staking functionality. I wonder if, and maybe write a few questions. I wonder if I can, stake and with no time lock allowed, or can I stake from another account, or can I unstake before I could stake? Just kind of write some questions, but just focus on one piece of the protocol's functionality because a lot of it might not directly um, have control or influence over certain funds that could be impactful. So, like, I think number one, people would go to vaults because all right, the money's here, but everything that interacts with the vaults would also be a primary target,
Mhm.
and certain things might not be looked at by auditors well as intense as like the main targets like a vault. So it could be like a governance contract or a staking or vesting or uh honestly, like, you just never know, right? But I would trace
Yes.
off one pathway
Mm-hmm.
instead of like what you kind of did, whereas like I need to understand the whole protocol, and then you end up, you're like, fuck, I have 2 days left, like where do I even go from here?
Yeah, so exactly, exactly. In 2 days, I think another point I want to just highlight here. In the last 2 days, there was a lot of pressure on me. That okay, even though just like spending that much time on that protocol, I was not even not able. For example, if the slok is maybe 2000 plus lines of okay, if it's 2
Mm-hmm.
2k plus, if the slog is 2k plus, I was not even in spite of spending that much time, I was not able to actually just look at all the functionalities or all the logic. No, still there's something remaining, but in the end, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, another thing that was killing me is that I had to submit. Okay, I had to find a bug. I had to. Less time is remaining. Clock starts ticking every day.
Mm-hmm.
Morning, I said there was a pressure. That was my mistake.
Yeah.
As you said, sir. As you said just now, just dogs are verbose. Now I realize that yes, dogs are too verbose. Sometimes, in some cases, basically, when, for example, when I refer back from the code to the docs, I have to search it on a lot of pages. I don't know where this problem is actually documented out there. Okay, I have to
Mm-hmm.
scan the docs, search the docs, if it's on Gitbook or on their website or something else. So yes, exactly. Now I understand. Now, shall I tell you my auditing methodology that I have started to implementing in before 10 days, and that is actually, I think, working for me. Right, sir?
Okay.
So what I do is
Well,
now,
hold on. Are you gonna drop this alpha you were talking about?
no, 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 no. That alpha pertains to Stargate and Layer Zero, right?
I know. I thought you were gonna drop the alpha. I'm waiting for it.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna in that alpha drop phase when you say alpha drop.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. Sounds good. All right. So tell me. So you've adjusted your method. Tell me what you're doing different
Yes,
now.
I have actually simplified it a lot. Okay, so instead of paying attention to the useless stuff that I was doing, I I actually made it really simple. Initial steps are exactly 100% as you said, literally. So first of all, I said, okay, just get an idea what the protocol is about. If it's staking, farming, governance, lending, borrowing, NFT marketplace, what is it? What value is it trying to deliver? Simple is that. Just reading the intro, maybe on the contest page or on the docs, just do not spend more than half an hour for that. I just wrote
Mm-hmm.
it down on the whiteboard in my office. Just don't spend more than 30 minutes on that. Okay, then after that, I'm actually looking back at that. Then after that, I just like understand the overall structure of the protocol. Okay, so where are the lips placed? Okay, which which are the main contracts, how are they actually interacting with the utils. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
then going through file by file, just having an idea. I'm not even reading the code right now, just looking at the inherited contracts, which contracts are imported, okay, and all. If something clicks, then I'll just comment, add a comment on that line, otherwise I'll just move on. Then just understanding the functionalities, having a, rough idea of the external functions and interesting functions, like for example claim reward, distribute reward, or you may say calculate reward, update reward, like these sort of
Mm-hmm.
functionalities. I say okay, I keep them in mind. Then what I do is I use clock, cloc. This is a CLI tool. I use clock and do some and by passing some like options like by file and exclude file, to just exclude empties and JSONs and everything else. I just calculate this clock, and using clock, then I have lines of code for each smart contract. I actually exclude all the directories that are not in scope, and I include all the directories that are actually in scope, right? So I get an idea, okay, all these files, it actually by default sorts the biggest slog contract on the top and lowest like log contract on the bottom.
Okay.
So I start
Okay.
with the bottom. Now
Okay.
I read each each contract from the pragma statement till the end, line by line, but I don't dig that deep. Okay, I just read it. I try to understand what's going on. If there is something fishy, then I just write a comment. Basically at that time I'm screening the whole protocol line by line really quickly, just to spot any low hanging fruit, as you said,
Mm-hmm.
high level issues, like some modifier is missing. Okay, if there is some unbounded array, if we are taking any user input and we are not validating
Well,
it and all, and we
let me ask you this,
are we
Vic.
giving any
Let me ask you
arbitrary
this.
call or something.
Vic, pause for a sec. Well, let me ask you this: are you confident that you can identify the majority of bugs if you see them?
uh I don't know, right now maybe 50% or 40% of the times,
Because
maybe.
if you see something, if you're looking at a contract, and I think this is core knowledge that you have to have. So if you look at a contract and you see, let's just put maybe you see a bit operation. There's a bit shift going on, and
Mm-hmm.
bit shifts there they can you can it's not technically an overflow, but it has overflow behavior even in after 0.8.0. If
Mm-hmm.
you should be able to spot like red flags with uh, say bit shifting is one. Let's say there's an ABI encode packed that has two adjacent dynamic types, uh, hard casts, assembly blocks. You know, these are things where if you're reading the contracts and you can't spot these things, you're kind of going to just skip them, and they could have a vulnerability there, and you wouldn't really note to yourself or make a note on your code to say, oh, you know, let me check this out. I think the fundamental start is you should just be reading audit reports and contracts on the chain to build up that base knowledge so you can, number one, identify, you know, hopefully 90% of the bugs out there. So then when you do see it, when you're, because if you're as disciplined as you say you are, where you're going line by line, this and that, and I believe you are, if you up your knowledge base, well, shit, man, you should be finding some bugs, but you have to be able to, that pattern has to match in your brain where you're like, oh, hey, wait, you know, why are they doing this? This doesn't make any sense. You can't do that. And that's what you want to flag. But if you just don't have that knowledge base, I think you're going to be missing bugs.
Yes, exactly, 100%. This is a valid point. Actually, you know what? As the time passes and you have the experience, you do the contest, you read the past reports, you actually revisit all the findings that I missed, but the senior security researchers spotted that. I do all that. Okay, but there is a capacity for everyone, and this skill or your knowledge base actually grows with by time, right? So for example, your library right now in your mind, it's far 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 huge and bigger than mine right now, right? So for that part, I call it toolbox, right? So all sort of attack vectors and possible like pitfalls there are there in in a security researcher's toolbox. And whenever he's reviewing the code, he's keep associating those vulnerabilities as and when he's reading the code line by line, right? So right now, as you said, the like uh, bitwise operations and all, maybe I won't spot those in like in the first glance. It probably I miss these sort of stuff, but I can actually spot some sort of issues like overflowing something, if it's underflows or overflows something, that error, or user input is not validated, missing access control or something, like really common bugs which anyone can I think spot. So basically at that level, I actually right now I only look for those, even though I also look for deeper bugs in this same line by line scan. But you are absolutely 100% correct that when we read a lot of past reports, and actually I think reading past report and getting maximum out of it and retaining the actual crux of how the senior security researcher actually, what was his mindset that he used to identify that bug, this is really important. So instead of just for example, previously what I used to do is just open solidity, okay, set the filter to high
Hmm.
medium and sources to like all the contest, all these platforms, Sherlock, Cantina and all. And I just start reading them one by one, okay. I read one like finding, I just mark it as red, okay. But then what I did is I started to go on the leaderboards of these platforms. For example, initially I selected Penprog on Sherlock. He's number one, he was number one
Hmm.
at that time, I think. So I just clicked on his profile and I just saw all his findings in the contest. He just ranked 1, 2, and 3. I just focused on his findings and tried to adopt his mindset. What was he actually trying to do? One thing I observed there, sir, is that for any single submission, he didn't write the POC. He just said the root cause, the impact, a really simple linear 1 or 2 or 3 steps attack path, even no mitigation sometime, and that's it. Move forward.
Hmm.
So by reading this, I was actually trying to get into like get my feet into his shoe, but definitely it also needed some time, right? When I see someone, he has submitted 60 bugs. There is a guy who is the lead senior Watson on Sherlock right now. His handle is 0x7336 something, so long extension, right? He submitted for one contest, if I'm not wrong, maybe I don't remember the name. He submitted 60 bugs. 60
Hmm.
bugs, and out of those 60, 45 bugs were actually validated by the judges.
60
So I said,
bucks. It's a
so I said,
lot.
I said, like, is it a team working or what is it? Then I went into his findings. I started reading them one by one. I not reading. I started studying them one by one because I also worked on that code base, right? So I had maybe three, 2 out of 3 findings validated. I said, but yes, 45 out of 60 findings, man. So that protocol included the omni-chain protocol, the omni-chain ecosystem, right? So I said, okay, what did he actually do? So what he did is he identified a vulnerability, a really simple submission. Again, I think he just copied Panprog, maybe. Really simple submission, root cause, line reference from the GitHub repo, the impact, the really simple attack path, giving examples like if this is equals to 1 and this is equals to 100 and this is equals to 50, 50 is less than 100, it's going to be that.
Uh,
Okay, just these sort of submissions. But when he found bug in one at one point, he also reported all the bugs that were actually affected from that bug as well. I
okay.
I don't know if
Okay.
I'm clear or not. So really connected bugs one by one. For example, if one variable in an omni-chain data is not updated. For example, we have omni-chain dot data. There is a struct, okay, and that particular variable is not updated in omni-chain dot data. Okay, now he has reported all other, the instances were not same. This is his level. He is pro. The instances were not the same, but actually using that variable in some other scenario. So he just find out those, assessed the impact, and reported those issues as well. So
All right.
this is,
Let me pause, Vic. Let me pause. So, all right, these guys have a method to their madness, but they do. You do have to be able to identify the bugs, and they clearly do. If you're at the top of the leaderboards of any of these platforms, um, you know, I know guys that don't do POCs. Sometimes I don't do them. If you can understand the logic in your head, and sometimes you don't need to verify it. It's as clear as day. So don't waste time on POCs sometimes unless it's mandatory.
Mhm.
But yeah, some of these bugs, it's pretty obvious, and I'm sure your findings could get rejected if you're wrong and all that stuff. But some are obvious where you don't really need to POC. And then kind of touching on the same thing I said before. I mean, you take a path, and if you if you see it goes somewhere, well, are there chain reactions to that? Maybe you can uncover other bugs. But dude, I think the base part, man, like I feel you on your experience here. And
Mhm.
and now you have this money pressure, which I know, man, it makes it harder. It
Yes,
makes it
exactly.
harder than anything. You're like, oh fuck. And it can make the whole thing not fun because you feel pressure. You go home at the end of the day and you don't find anything. You've made no money and you feel like you've made no progress. And it's a fucking pressure cooker, especially when you got people relying on you. I totally get it. Let
Exactly.
me ask you, why do you think? And it's not for everyone, man. And I don't want to dissuade you from being a bounty hunter or doing this at all. I think it's a great field, but
Exactly.
the audit contests, private audits, all that stuff, it's very different from bounty hunting in a way that the work is the same, but the outcomes and the day to day have a have a specific impact on you as a human. Like it'll put you in the depths of hell, and when you don't find shit, you feel like you'll never find a bug again. You feel like you're down in the dumps, and it just sucks, and you have to be able to push through that and come out the other end and find a bug. But it can go for months. Like it can go, I don't think people get it. People see these big numbers,
Yeah.
and it happens, man. Like, but you'll see the arcs in different hunters. Some guy's famous this month, next month, or you don't hear from him for a while, and he's like, fuck, like I've gone cold, I'm not finding anything, and they'll start to doubt themselves. But hopefully, they have a good runway, they haven't spent it, and they can keep doing the same thing that they're doing. But it's not easy, man. So, do you think you have, uh, can you handle the pressure of
Yes.
doing this line of
Straight
work?
yes. Straight yes. I'm built for that. You know
How do
what?
you know you're built for it?
Cause I feel more exciting when I'm hunting a bug on a live smart contract. I experienced this with like Stargate Finance and all. I was really much exciting, man. I said okay, I'm doing something real. There is something real value on chain. I don't know why. I was motivated a lot. I was 2x motivated or maybe 3x motivated. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why. This is the
I,
reason.
I know why. I know why. It's those dollar figures, right?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, like I am adding real value. I don't know why, if you understand my mindset or not, but I really enjoy doing stuff on chain, like using.
Mm-hmm.
I started using Tenderly a lot. All right, I started using Metaslate there to understand the fund flow within
Mm-hmm.
the from the address to address and all.
Good,
So
good.
I was I was actually enjoying that stuff a lot, and I will still come back to it. It's just that for now, I just want some sort of, even if it's small, some sort of, as I said, in 700 bucks in Pakistan, you can actually monthly, you can actually like live a good life, reasonable life, right? So even for per month, I just do $1,500 dollars or 1,000 or 2,000, no matter. Eventually, what I'm going to do is bug bounty is something, honestly speaking, sir, bug bounty is something that I think that I can do for life, maybe, right? So I just need a stable income there. So no matter if I spend 2 months, 3 months, 4 months uh, on particular protocol and I don't find anything, so that thing doesn't actually pressurize me. I need
Hmm.
to find it, I need to find it. If I have, if you, anyone, if anyone has some stable that a really rational approach would be to set some sort of stable passive income, right? If you have that, then I think this is actually my mindset. I'm gonna just do a job, maybe it's part time, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, and a lot of time, maybe another 5 to 6 hours, I'll just do bug hunting, cause
It's a good idea. It's a
my
good
mental
idea. It
energy
relieves some
doesn't
pressure.
drain when I'm hunting. I'm sorry. What did you say, sir? Sorry,
I
I just
no,
interrupted you.
I say what you're saying is a good idea because it relieves some pressure and it probably allows you to bug hunt just without thinking, oh shit, if I don't earn anything, we could be out on the streets at the end of the month. So I think that is a very good direction you're taking.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm actually saying. Cause bug hunting is something uh, for everyone. Maybe I think audit contests are boring straight away. Audit contests are boring, but bug hunting is actually something really like indulging for me. I really enjoy it. My brain energy doesn't drain in audit contest in bug hunting. I don't know why. If I show you my Miro board, then for layer zero, and I started from the Stargate Finance, and I just follow the send tokens function. Using it, use the LZ send function,
Hold on,
and
hold on. All right, alpha drop right here. I think we're getting the alpha. All right, alpha drop, layer 0, Vic coming in hot. What do we got?
okay, this is a really simple one, but you need to give me some time so that I can go to my Miro board. Can you please give me a second?
What is a Miro board?
Miro, you don't know Miro?
I've
Come
never
on.
heard of that. What is it? I have a notes.md file. What is
Yeah,
Miro?
basically, I do what? I take the screenshots of the functions along with the smart contract name and just build the flow, right?
Okay.
So I use Miro, Miro, it's Miro, Miro.
I've
Uh,
never heard of these. Okay.
okay, it's simply Miro.com. You can go there. You know Escali Draw?
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, great, man. That's why I say you are a legend.
Dude, I just, all right. Let me throw some commonalities here that now I'm realizing some more. Is we had Lonely Sloth on, and he just reads the code. A lot of the guys I talk to just read the code, and they really don't use any tools. And I'm just thinking about like I just have the notes file, and like it's pretty minimal, and you're overcomplicating things, man. Look, like
Yeah, yeah.
this is all right.
Point.
This is a mindset different thing. Okay, so you're building. I don't know how much time you're spending building this on this Miro, which is probably very elegant. It looks cool and all that stuff. And other people use Notion, and I always found that to be like that's what my brain's for. I keep everything in my brain, and that's exactly what it's for. And if I start writing anything down, or designing whiteboards, I feel like I'm offloading that onto
Mm.
there, and then I'm not going to remember it, and then I'll have to constantly refer to it. Versus if I just kind of load it in my brain, I could think about it like that. So you're kind of offloading it. I don't know if this everyone's different. Maybe it helps you, maybe it doesn't, but I just kind of slam it all into my brain, and that works better for me.
this that makes actually sense, like as you said, that overcomplicating things, and we are actually using our energy on those things as well, right?
Because it
So
takes a lot of time, right? What you're doing, this Miro.
yeah, it takes some time, it helps a lot in understanding the flow. I don't need to actually go back and forth in the VS code. But definitely, from your perspective, the point that you raised is that, like, it takes your time, okay, and I think
Your
this
time should
itself
be
making the
spent
things over complicated.
reading, yeah, just reading code. Your time should be spent on that. Anything else, I think, is a distraction. It's like if you set up a company and the
Mhm.
first thing you do is worry about legal structure and taxes and all that stuff when you haven't made a dime. Well, you just your body is just pushing you to work on something that's less of a challenge that you know you can accomplish, but you're not actually focusing on what you should be doing, which is making revenue for your new company to see if it's even viable. So you're
Exactly.
building all this stuff and you have, this reference material, all this. I've read all the docs, this and that, but it's like, hey, you need to be reading the code and finding the bugs.
Exactly, exactly. That's the point. So, just let me tell you about the alpha drop
All
Odyssey. I
right,
think
go ahead.
if it is or not, like in okay. So basically, when you are allowed to pay the gas fees, if you are allowed to pay the gas fees of using the LZ token, let me verify this here. Like you are not paying in the native coin, right? Get that gas fees.
Hmm.
Just a moment, please.
Are you zooming around the Miro board right now?
Yes, so this is actually something that, okay, here it is. So maybe, so one thing was that Stargate financing was pulling the payment from the message sender twice, like the whole protocol. Okay, once the Stargate finance was pulling the payment, all right, and second, the layer zero protocol was pulling the payment. In case if the token fees is paid in a non-native token, in LZ token.
Hmm.
Okay,
But
so
does the
basically,
user get refunded at the end?
yes, user get refunded in the end, but the thing is, user will give the approval for that amount only once. He's not going to give the approval for amount into two. This is pull mechanism, right? It is doing safe transfer from
So what's the bug
message
though?
sender.
Is the transaction going to revert? Is he going to lose tokens?
Definitely, it is going to revert, but for now, they are not. They haven't enabled that the LZ token fee in native
Ah,
token.
okay. So if they enable it, then you're looking at uh, a revert. So
Yeah, yeah,
which
exactly.
which well, all right, interesting. I mean, it'll probably get picked up when when they find out it doesn't work. But
Yes, but
when they
for now,
enabled
they
it
will
and
say
say,
nothing
"Fuck,
is
it
on
doesn't
at
work."
risk right now.
It is what? Say again.
Like they might say nothing is at risk for now.
Hmm.
Will they
Okay.
accept this?
I don't know. That's a good question. Those bugs. So these bugs, which if it reverts, you're breaking the contract's functionality. I think it's a bug. If it's something supposed to work, it doesn't work.
Yes,
And
the function is redeem and send. The
mhm.
function is redeem and send in the Stargate pool smart contract.
Okay,
The function is redeem send,
all right.
right?
So what you would do is either report it now on this feature. It's not enabled yet. That's honestly what I'd do, unless instead of just waiting for them to go and pull the trigger, because maybe when they pull the trigger, they realize, oh yeah, no, we already caught that it didn't work. So I would actually report it now and just say, hey, look, and I'm not going to publish this podcast for a week, so you got plenty of time. But I would report it. I would say, hey, it's low severity, but look, this is broken. If you enable this, and just see how they go.
All right. So right after this call, I'm gonna report it.
Okay, good stuff, man. And I just looked up this. I remember that name, Johnny Time. You said you took a course from this guy.
I also worked with him. I also worked with him on a Web3 security fundamental course.
Uh
I
huh.
prepared
You
that
like
course.
this guy? Is he a good guy?
Yes, absolutely. He's a good
I
guy.
I never followed this guy because I don't like his profile picture. He's got his head, pixelated head, and I've seen he follows me, and I can't stand this profile picture. I refuse to follow back just
He's a
because
great
maybe
guy.
he's a great guy. I don't know.
Yes, yes,
I don't
exactly.
like
He's
his
a great
profile
guy.
picture though. Johnny, I don't know if you're watching this, Johnny. I'm sorry. I just can't handle that guy, man.
He's a
Cool.
great.
Well, hey, Vic, we hit an hour, man. It's
Yeah,
been a pleasure. This is very interesting. We also had some live alpha drop, which will already be submitted when when this goes to be published. But I think it's good, man. I think the the ultimate thing here is you have to get a deep knowledge of all the bugs. And these high level bugs, I think, are going to be more and more harder and harder to find, especially as LLMs are improving. And a lot of this stuff just gets caught now, unless you're very lucky and you see some high level thing, which happens. But I wouldn't bet your career on it. I would look at it like I have to be able to identify everything, and I'm willing to go very deep. And you can't do that without knowing all the pitfalls of Solidity or any language that you're looking in.
exactly.
So my advice to you, sir, is to hit the Solidity docs and read all the warnings. And if you haven't done that yet, I think it's a great spot to do it. Read more audit reports, read more contracts, browse the blockchain, and keep at it, man.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you
All
so much.
right. All right. Well, thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time on the blockchain.